Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Another episode of Web Design for Dommies. One of my favorite activities every single week is hanging out here with you guys on YouTube live for a Web Design for Dommies episode. As you stroll in, go ahead and drop a comment in the chat. Let me know that you're here. Say hi to everybody. And let me know that you're ready to rock and roll for today's live critiques. Before we get started, if you are wanting to have your website or one of your websites, remember, it can be a client website. You do have to have permission, okay? But if you have permission to have this site publicly critiqued, then you can go in the description of this live stream below. You will find a link to a form. Fill out and submit the form, and then you will be in the queue for having your website critiqued. Let's see. We've got Sylvia here. We've got John here. Edwards here. Haley, Arnaud, Daniel, Randall. All right, we are flowing in. This is fantastic. Before we dive into the critiques today, just a couple updates for you. Number one, if you are a Frames user, I'm going to go ahead and let me get a window going over here. Let's get a window going. Okay. Big updates on the Frames side of things. For those of you, this is just a little bit of news before we get going into our critiques today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So I'm going to go to getframes.io, and we are building out pretty detailed, like kind of an insane level of documentation for Frames. This is, documentation was heavily requested, but as always, we're like, okay, well, if we're going to do the documentation thing, we're going to do the documentation thing. So we're going all in on documentation. I'm not ready to show everybody like the new library yet and all of that documentation. I mean, you'll find your way to it if you're intuitive enough. Just know that it's not really publicly released yet. But what is new and what is here publicly released is the new changelog for Frames. If you are aware, we currently use Notion for our changelog, and it's just very, basic, and it just says, what we released, and it kind of has the track record of doing it. But now that we have the actual centralized library and all of the document, I need to get in, let me get more in the middle. Okay. Now that we have like the library and the documentation all going, it makes sense that our changelog should be native on the website. Okay, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and build it, and I'm gonna use Frames to build it. So I use Timeline Alpha, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you. So down at the bottom of the page, getframes.io, click on changelog, and you are gonna see the new changelog. There's only 2 entries on the new changelog because it doesn't, and you'll see the notice right here. Hey, this changelog is only active since January 22nd. You can view the old changelog here, but going forwards, all the updates are going to be here, and you can click right through. So this uses Timeline Alpha, heavily customized, obviously. But here's the cool thing. If you are an Inner Circle member, I am releasing right after this live stream. I'm buttoning it up, and it's already, everything's recorded. I just got to button a couple more things up. I did a whole training. It's an advanced bricks training on how this timeline was built with the custom fields, the bidirectional relationships, everything that's built in, because you're actually only seeing a few of the features here. There's actually a lot more features packed into this timeline or this changelog functionality, let's call it. You'll see more of it as we add more things to the actual changelog, but there's a lot of kind of, very dynamic stuff going on here with this changelog. And the tutorial is an hour and a half long. It is an advanced bricks tutorial. People have been asking me, hey, you got a great foundational stuff. I want more advanced stuff. Well, if you wanted that advanced stuff, it's coming, right? This is an example of that. So a 90-minute advanced tutorial on exactly how this was built custom. Starting with Timeline Frame Alpha. Okay, just wanted to give that update. So good stuff coming to Frames, good stuff coming to the Inner Circle in terms of advanced training. And now we're ready to rock and roll. That is the end of our news today. All right, so I'm going to just bring in, what are we doing here? Web Design for Dommies, just for any of those who are a new watcher. We are doing live, in-depth web design critiques. So we're not just skimming the surface. We're looking at everything that we can possibly look at in the allotted time for each website. That means we usually in an hour and a half or 2 hours, we only look at 2 or 3 websites. We're spending 30 to 40 minutes per site. Really, really, really valuable stuff that is going to up your game tremendously if you tune in every single week. And you're going to hear, some of the same stuff over and over and over again. That's good. You want to hear that repetition because it burns it into your brain so that when you are building your own sites, you hear that voice in the back of your head. Ooh, this copy's not good enough. Ooh, this is not done right. Okay, so that's the goal here. With that said, let's go ahead and bring in our first website. So we have Untamed Belize. I was not looking at the logo. I was trying to just look up here and decipher what that said. Untamed Belize Tours and Transfers. Your Belize adventure partner and ground transfer provider offering, hit the space bar, offering the best Belize tours, shuttles, service, and prices. As I go through these critiques, if you want to participate, you can give your own thoughts in the chat about any section that we happen to be looking at. If you have questions, write the word question in all caps, followed by your question. That'll make it easy for me to find, and I'll try to answer every single question that is asked. And let's go ahead and do the no scroll test. So if we don't scroll on this page, we just look at what's there already. Can we figure out what's going on here? Who is this for? And what can I get? And I think the answer is absolutely yes. It's obviously Belize Tours. And if I want to schedule a tour or book a shuttle, I don't know what, I guess this would just be for transportation, but this would actually be for a tour, like what do they call them on the cruise? I was just on the cruise. I forget what they call them. Let's go down a little bit. I'm looking at see this photo right here and then see this photo right here. One of my questions was with this featured image, is this really the image? Like the one image, if you had one image that was like, make me want to go to Belize and do a tour, is this the image that's going to make me want to do that? I don't think so. This image, much more intriguing. Now, I know everybody's different, and this is going to be fairly subjective, but in terms of colors, in terms of action, in terms of, wow, that's a really gorgeous sea turtle. Just in terms of what's going on from a photographic standpoint, wouldn't this one be better up here in the hero section? And that's just an example. I'm sure you have many, many, many more. But I'm not sure that this is the strongest photo for the, hey, let's just hit them right off the bat and really, really, really make them want to go to Belize. All right, let's keep scrolling. You'll hear this. I've said this, I think, in every episode of Web Design for Dommies. I'm not a fan of telling people the same thing over and over and over again. You're wasting your headline opportunities. Look, Untamed Belize, Untamed Belize, Untamed Belize. I got it. We're untaming Belize. You got to give me something else now, okay? You got give me some more context. Give me something else to chew on, right? This is a waste. So let's really sit down and think about what these headlines should be saying. Untamed Belize provides professionally guided Belize adventure tours. That's another. So we've wasted the headline and we've wasted the lead paragraph right here. Because we already knew this. You already told us basically right here. So you haven't told us anything new. This section doesn't even really need to exist, right? You've told us everything. If there's nothing relevant else to add, then these sections just make the page longer for no reason whatsoever. Now, it has a call to action for browse tours, but guess what? I can do that right here as well. So yeah, that section does not need to exist. All right, Belize, cave tubing. I don't know about this, okay? I'm not going to make any other comments, but I would choose a different hero photo for right here. That's all I'm saying, okay? All right. This is going to be the template page, I guess, for all of your tours. Let's click this one. All right. Okay. So as a template page, I think it does its job. You might consider, there's a hero right here. You might consider having some sort of media right here, so that people, because remember these heroes are stretching, they're cropping, they're doing a lot of things to these photos. Like this is again, it's like a little bit blurry, low resolution. I can't really tell what's going on here. So if I can just have a normal photo right here as like a featured image as well, or even a spot for a video, surely on all these tours, there's been plenty of captured video, right? So let's get some video going, right? I want to see, let's go back here. Instead of that, I want to see a video of people just like raging down this river, and just having a whole bunch of fun. I want to see that happening in motion on my screen. So let's put some other media in here. I know you can do it. I know there's media out there that exists. But you give a good description here of what's there. You've got a what's included, what to bring, what to wear. Now we have a gallery. That's fantastic. Let's see if I can actually interact with the gallery. I can. So this gives me a better idea, right? Now you're making me want to go to Belize. Okay. But I still think a video up top would be really good. You've even got a testimonial, so there's some social proof there. You've got a sticky card, call to action card that follows the person down the page and allows them to book. So you have all of the pieces here. You've got a closing call to action. I would say poorly executed. It's fairly boring. It doesn't really get me excited. And God, there's that guy again. It's the same photo. You gotta get rid of this photo. No more of that photo. That photo is scratched off the list. Make this. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see if we can warp this up. Where's our wait a minute. Why is that a grid? Okay. But why is it a 4-column grid? I'm confused. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's a 3-column grid. Does that need to be 3 columns? No. Okay. Ooh, all right. Show me your DOM, my friend. Show me your DOM. We've got some issues here. Why are we styling at the ID level? Don't do that. No, baby. What is you doing? Okay. No styling at the ID level, please. This is built in Oxygen. Is that correct? Yeah. Yep. Oxygen. Yeah. This is an example. Okay. I guess you wanted the 2-to-1 ratio on here, but I mean, you can just do that with 2FR, 1FR. You didn't need all the other stuff going on. Okay. Styling at the ID. Anyway, what I was getting at is this headline should probably be like the same size as your H1, center it, put the book tour below it, and just make it really prominent, make it a larger section in general. It's just kind of an afterthought. It's like, ooh, here's a little quick sentence and another button. You have room there for more visual, right? Another new visual, and then just really bold text and just capture that user right before they get to the footer. The other thing I don't know about is the photo on photo, the stack right here, where it goes from like one background photo to another background photo. And I just don't know about, I mean, I get like, okay, the cheetah's cool. Maybe make the cheetah can be the final CTA background image. And then this should just be a solid color down here. Cause you got a lot of links going on and like they're over the top of an image and like it's not bad. It's just, there's a lot visually going on. And it would be easier to decipher everything if this was just a solid color back here and then put that beautiful cheetah up here in a larger CTA section right before the footer, especially since that cheetah is going to people are going to notice the cheetah, right? They don't want this stuff going on right here. They're going to notice that cheetah though. So put that cheetah in the CTA because you want them to notice the CTA. Yeah, that's a good thing to draw their eye. I think that would work a lot better. All right. Well, we saw there's some DOM issues going on this site. That makes me want to go back to the home page, and find a repeating element, something like this or something like this, and do a quick inspection, because this is really how you know if this website is going to be maintainable or if it's going to be an absolute nightmare to maintain. And so we look at something like this, where we have, okay, so you're using an article, but we also need a list structure going on here technically. So this needs to be the UL, and this needs to be LIs. And we can see here that the class CT div block, that's a basic oxygen class, and then rounded L. So there's no custom class on here. And then we come down here and see, let's go into, so you've got a div inside of there, okay? And then you've got this div for the image. Here's your body right here. And we see it's mainly utility classes being used here. Oh, you do have a featured tours card body right there. But the only thing it's doing is making it width 100%. Okay, so here's the classic. I see this mistake over and over and over and over again. If you're going to put a BEM class, featured tours card body, this is correct. This is what we should see here. Now, if I go up here, I was looking for featured tours card. Where's the parent, right? You have a child class. Okay, no. Okay, there's featured tours card wrapper, but there's no actual card class, that at least from what I can see at a quick glance. But if you're going to use BEM classes, don't use utility classes. Don't mix and match, okay? Everybody, if you want to write that down in your notes, for those of you taking notes, write that down and just maybe put a box around it and circle it a few times, sketch around it, where it just says, hey, if I use BEM classes, custom classes, don't also use utility classes. You don't want to mix and match. The point of the BEM class is that all styling gets attached to that, and that class is on all elements, therefore giving you global control of all elements. Every style change that uses a utility class is going to remove that scalability and maintainability for that particular style. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to mix and match. Down here, maybe same thing happened. Owl S, no parent class. There's no BEM class here. And then we come down, no BEM class, no BEM class, no BEM class. Styling at the ID level right here. So if you use these icon cards, and this is a perfect example of basically what amounts to a global element. The question is, can you see yourself using these icon cards on other pages of the website? I can see you using them almost on every page. So shouldn't we be able to change the style of this icon card from a single source of truth? Because if I put, let's say this is a little child, right? I put I put 70 of those little children out into this website somewhere. I got to go to every single one of them to make any updates to their style. You see what a disaster that is? This is something that's going to be used in so many different places. So there has to be a single source of truth for controlling its style, right? Watch this. I'm going to take this and say, oh, we wanted more space between the items. Owl M. Okay. Well, you fix that one. Now what, my friend? Now what are you going to, what's your strategy now, right? Well, you're going to go to every single one and do that change on every single page. Right. Now, when I've said before, you don't want to be a chump, and you put yourself in these situations where as soon as the client, because Bob, the client for this, Bobby's going to come to you and be like, that spacing needs to be a little tighter, or that spacing needs to be a little looser, or how about you change the icon color right there? Can you change that icon color? Well, sure, I can change that icon color. What you want it to be, Bobby? Red? Okay, now it's red, Bobby. But now I got to go do all the other ones manually. That's Chumpville right there. You are wasting a tremendous amount of time and energy. What I would like to be able to do is change that icon right there, and all of them change across the website, whether I've used one or 70,000 of them. They all change from one place, okay? All right, so that's enough harping on that. You guys get it. We've talked about this before. Untamed client reviews. This is good, right? You have social proof. Okay, we get it. I bet you can't keyboard navigate that because this is Oxygen. Yeah, I can't do anything with the keyboard with this, so this is not accessible. But it's there, okay? So it's better than nothing. Now, I would just put more time and effort into this section. When you have a site like this where you're really wanting to sell Belize, okay? And there's probably people, it's their first time to Belize, they had the best time ever. They're probably leaving saying, this is the best vacation I've ever been on. I'm just guessing, okay? You got to tell their story because their story is what's going to convince other people to come. So how do you tell their story? You make their social proof way more prominent. You make sure there's a photo of them, and you have an opportunity here. See, if I sell like widgets and I want to put a testimonial and I want to show a photo of my client, I just got to find some sort of headshot, grab their thing off Facebook, whatever. Boring. You have the opportunity to take a photo that this person took on their vacation, like rafting down a river, and put that into their testimonial. Big, right? And so people are reading their testimonial while watching or looking at a thing that they actually did on that trip. That makes the social proof 100 times more powerful for telling the story and convincing other people to go to Belize. So you are wasting an opportunity by having text only to testimonials here. No images whatsoever. We're not telling the story. Okay. So we've got to put more time, and this is worth it. So when you hear more time and effort, there's things you should put more time and effort into, and there's things you should not put more time and effort into. This is one of those things that you should absolutely 100% put more time and effort into. All right. Ready to book your Belize adventure? We're going to try to book one. Well, not really. We're just going to look at the flow. Okay. So we're met with a rather large modal, but that's okay. I mean, right off the top of my head, I'd probably do some sort of multi-step with this. Just, less fields all at once. All right, I don't know. Let's try. Test. Let's do Kevin at digitalgravy.co. One person. There's our date and time picker. I bet this isn't tied into anything in particular. This is probably what I guess this is just like my I hope it's available. All right, we're gonna do 1, 2, 3 street road, and we're gonna do city. And, destination. I've run into the first hurdle, my friend. Book your Belize city to San Ignacio shuttle. Hold on. I'm trying to decipher what this actually means. This needs to be rewritten. I don't understand what that means. But here's the thing. I mean, I don't know. What am I supposed to put here? Where's, oh, wait, hold on. I got it. Oh, this is a shuttle. Okay. So I just clicked on something random. Let me go back. Maybe that makes more sense now. I thought I was booking like one of these tours. All right. That's the shuttle service. Where's the tours? I thought I clicked on one of these. Okay. This is what I wanted to see the flow of. Okay. Now we got a smaller form. Got it. All right. The other one made sense now. I thought I clicked on a tour. Sorry. All right. So full name, test person. This is going to be Kevin at digitalgravy.co, and then this is going to be one person, and we have the same time picker, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, and just testing. I'm not a robot. Book my tour. Oh, phone number's not valid. Why not? Oh, I got to do it like that? Wait a minute. Okay, you really want me to do this? Can I book it now? All right. So, you see the problem here? We're running into a problem. First of all, my friend, I formatted it exactly like you have in your placeholder. But this is called an input mask, or there should be an input mask on this input. And this is WS form, I can tell. you've formatted this input wrong somehow. The mask should force the person to put in the phone number exactly how you want by just typing in numbers. I cannot book a tour with you, my friend. I don't know what's going on here. Phone number is not valid. Oh, well, I guess, okay, so is it just because I put in 1, 2, 3? All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0. I mean, how do you know my phone number is not valid? Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, all right, am I missing something in the chat? Am I just being like a moron right now? Or should this be working? I feel like it should be. I've never had this problem before on other forms. But I cannot book. All right, I'm going to put in the exact one, 201-555, 201-555, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is basically what they had in the, oh, it needs a plus. Let's go do that again. They deserve to have a second test sent through just because of that. All right, let's go. Test person 2. Digital gravy. Oh, come on, man. Come on. 1. Here. Okay. +1. So watch this. I'm going to take out the +1 and we're going to get an error. I'm going to add the +1. Still get an error. Something's going on with this form. I can't put in my real number because then all of y'all will blow me up. But I don't know. This feels way too strict. I don't know how it's doing the validation, but yeah, I did add I did add it. Now it masked it. It took away the +1 on its own. And now it's allowing me to do it. So I don't know. There must be some sort of that wasn't my real phone number, by the way. Don't call that number. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. It felt a little strict though. Oh geez, God. Okay. Belize tours. Let's see this archive page real quick. Okay, this is interesting. You've got a little bit of a spacing issue going on here. I see this like so many sites, but I don't really know why it's happening because it's so hard to prevent, or I mean, so easy to prevent. It's the mask. That's what it is. So, you've got that right there. Let's remove that. Okay. Display. None. There's your even spacing. I see this all the time with shape divider usage, masks, things like that. Clip paths are going to cause this problem as well. You have even spacing in your hero, but the minute you put another element inside of it that is positioned in such a way, like absolute, where it's not going to increase the size of the container, it's going to take up your spacing, and you end up with this. You end up with an unbalanced spacing. So what you have to do, let's inspect this, because this is so common. So common. This should not be happening. All right, so this is a pseudo element with a background image. And effectively what you've done is you need to get the computed height of that element, which is 124 pixels. So when I hover over this, you see in the white right there, it tells you the dimensions. I don't care about the width. The height is 124 pixels. Okay, so now when you're creating your padding inside of your section, so I'm going to go down to, all right, there's your background. Oh, you're styling again at the ID. Well, that's I guess just for the background image, so that's fine. Oh yeah, that's right. It's oxygen. I forgot. Oxygen puts the padding inside the inner wrapper. Tisk tisk. So you come down here. Here's your padding right here. All right, let's quickly decipher how this is. So this is top and bottom. So what you're gonna have to do is create a custom class for these heroes that any hero that has a divider, right? You create a custom class where it's like hero hero padding double dash divider or something like that, just to signify that this is a padding for something that has been BEM, block element modifier, modified with a shape divider. And you add the height of the shape divider to the normal padding that's already there. So in automatic CSS, you know it's section space im by default, right? Plus, then you have another variable called divider height. And then that calculation right there gives you perfect spacing again. And because you're using a variable for the divider height, anytime the divider height changes, you can change the height of the divider and it fixes all of your hero section spacing altogether. It actually doesn't even need to be hero. It just needs to be section padding double dash divider. So any section that has this divider right here, which I believe you're going to be using on a bunch of different pages, you're going to want to make a variable for the height of that and then add that height to the height of your normal spacing. Then you won't have this issue going on right here. It's a little extra step, but this is a big problem, at least for me. Like just throwing the negative space balance off like that is, it just looks no bueno. Okay, I'm seeing a problem here with the way that these are animated, or I guess I should say not animated. Interesting. Okay. Okay, let's see this. This should be another list, by the way. So there's your UL, and then each of these are LIs, and then your A's are inside the LIs. For anybody who cares about the semantic nature of that. So let's do, we see hovers, transform, scale, 1-to-1. Okay. So on this block right here, can we get all the way down here? Can we just test this out real quick? Transition, all 0.3 seconds ease. Well, that broke it. And I don't know why. But what you need to do, oh, there you go. It was working. It just wasn't working in the inspector. See how it's snapping? Snap, 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 snap. I would just make that, just put a little transition on there, and it should transition nicely, growing and then shrinking again, and you won't get that snap, snap kind of behavior that's going on with that scale. All right, let's come down. Got all of our tours, Belize marine tours, nature tours, cultural tours. Okay, it's got a lot of different categories here. I'd like to see the back-end structure. Obviously, I can't, just to see, how this CPT was set up, make sure the taxonomies are all correct. Can't do that from the front end very well, though. I'm just wondering about, because I'm just now finding out. I mean, I've been on this website for, 20 minutes or so, and I'm just now finding out that there's these different categories of tours. Because these, right, if we go back to the homepage and now just ask ourselves, with the new information that we have, what's missing? Well, what's missing is you should have told me that there's a bunch of cool categories, like right off the bat. So I go to Belize Tour. Why isn't this like front and center? Hey, what type of Belize Tours experience? We've talked about this concept of burying the lead over and over and over again. Like this is like a key thing. This whole experience right here is a key that take this entire section. So remember I said earlier, this is like, it's amazing how you understand principles. So you can foreshadow things without even knowing how important it is going to be later. What is the first thing that I said about this section right here? What is the first thing I said about this section right here? I said it was a waste of space because you're telling me things you already told me. Now, I want you to imagine if we took this section and put it right here, how useful that would be. So now I go, okay, so imagine again, we have an amazing photo up here. This photo is a little boring. We have an amazing photo up here. Just sucks you right in immediately. You're like, oh God, Belize is beautiful. It's gorgeous. I want to go there. And then you scroll down and it's like, hey, hello, sir. Which type of tour would you like to go on? And then I immediately understand there's adventure tours, there's marine tours, there's nature tours. And this is also, by the way, segmenting your user. So the user is allowed to put themselves in a bucket. Everybody that comes to your website, doesn't matter what kind of business you are in, they are in some sort of bucket related to what you offer. Your job is figuring out what the buckets are, and then your job is presenting the buckets to the user and allowing them to identify with a bucket. And then you know exactly how to speak to them. You know exactly what they're interested in. You know exactly what they want to do next. And that's what this section does a great job of doing right here. So this is perfect. You just buried it. Stop burying the perfect things. The things you do right should not be buried. Put this thing front and center right here where you previously wasted a bunch of space. Okay, so now the user, right off the bat, we're going to pretend that we're on the homepage right now. Right off the bat is like, I am into marine stuff. I want to do stuff in the water. Okay, good. We click right here. That's my bucket. And now it would take, where have I gone? Okay, it should have taken me way down here. It did not. It stopped like way up here somewhere. But let's just imagine that it took me right here. So now I'm in my element now. I'm exactly seeing the things that I wanted to see. And I mean, look at this photo, swimming with whale sharks. Are you serious? I'm clicking this. You're doing me dirty now again. Why are you doing me dirty? Why are you doing me dirty with this low res photo? You got to be, listen, go to nationalgeographic.com and look at how I guarantee you this ain't on nationalgeographic.com. And you don't have to have a National Geographic budget to have a photo that's, relatively high res of some people swimming with whale sharks. But you're doing me dirty with this low res hero photo. This is not getting me excited about swimming with whale sharks. Okay. When I saw it little, I was excited, but then I opened it up. You got to give me high res detail, okay? It matters. It matters. It matters. It matters. You've got your spacing issue going on right here again. And if you had used the variable technique that I mentioned earlier, this would not be happening on page after page after page after page. So you see how important these little attention to detail, these little details, very, very, very important. So you've got the makings of everything that is supposed to be here. All right. We just have to now pay attention to details. What is a detail? A detail is the resolution of these hero photos. The fact that we need a video now more than ever, because you decided to show me whale sharks in 208 pixels. I need a video of people swimming with whale sharks more than ever now. Okay. So if you had one there, that would have saved you. But there isn't one. So we need more media to sell this stuff. Let's see these. Okay, decent. Too small. We just need big, in-your-face, high-res photos. Absolutely worth it to go the extra mile and get the extra effort. And now I'm realizing that this background photo on the CTA actually adopts. Is that the featured image? Yeah, it adopts the featured image of the page. So I see what you're doing there. But it doesn't work because your images don't work because they're all low res. And that's, it's harming the experience, the user experience. And it's harming your storytelling. It's harming your sales ability. It's harming a lot of things. Photos are very, very, very important. These are good. These are really, really good. That's not horrific, okay? It could be better. You also have to really pay attention to how these heroes are cropping, right? I'm on a wide screen, granted. Let me pull this in. That's how a lot of people are seeing it right there. But you got to account for the fact that there are a lot of people on some wide screens. And, what are they going to see different? Okay. I'm wondering if there's anything else we should. Here's a blog. So let's look at SEO. Because right off the bat, my mind is like, I could sell Belize with some SEO, for sure. For sure, we can get a lot of traffic, and we can get a lot of eyeballs, and we could probably sell a lot of travel packages with some good SEO on this website. So now we're going to dive into SEO land and see what we've got going on. Top 10 must-do Belize tours in 2022. Okay, we're going to go Ahrefs right now. Let's pretend we're doing discovery. I'm starting from scratch. My client's like, I sell Belize tours. And I'm like, that's fantastic. I'm going to go see what we can rank for. Let's just do a little bit of the initial discovery research. Like, where do you start? So I'm going to go to Keyword Explorer, and we can just start with go super broad. We go Belize, right? And we go to matching terms. So I want to see all terms related to Belize. And then I can start to filter down from there. But I see right off the bat, Belize all-inclusive resorts. Now, some of this discovery with SEO has to be done with the client or with the client's input, okay? And here's why. You need to know all the angles of the business in order to properly do SEO, to understand what angles you're going to attack from a content marketing standpoint. So you do tours. I would imagine that in order for somebody to go to Belize and do a tour, they would have to stay in resorts while they're there. You probably don't sell the resort as the tour package, right? You probably partner with resorts. That would be my guess. So a blog post on Belize's best all-inclusive resorts would probably make a lot of sense. Now, somebody who is searching, you've got to imagine how this all flows through as like a funnel. So somebody's not looking for tours, okay? You get me? They're not looking for tours. They're looking for resorts in Belize. That's what they're looking for. They're not looking for you. They're looking for resorts in Belize. But you are going to be found, and you are going to basically say to them, hey, while you're at these awesome all-inclusive resorts, you should probably look into these awesome tours that we have, right? So I think a lot of people with SEO, they're like, okay, we want to rank for Belize tours. We want to but that requires that people are searching for tours in Belize. And the fact is that lots and lots of people go to Belize because it's beautiful, and they never think about doing a tour. They may not even know that these tours exist. And so they're not going to search for them, but they're going to search for other stuff. And you just got to know that's my person. Okay. If they're searching for that, that's probably my person. They don't have to search for exactly what I do. And so if you can rank for Belize all-inclusive resorts, which I guarantee we're going to do a right here. So Belize resorts, Belize tours. We're just going to do a little comparison real quick. We'll keep it fair on matching terms. Okay, there's your Belize all-inclusive resorts, 21,000, 20,000, and then we get all the way down. Where are the tours? Tour, if I could spell it right. There they are, way down here, Belize tours. So your client's like, hey, we got to rank for Belize tours. Hey, I agree with you. You've got to rank for Belize tours, but look at this volume. 500, traffic potential column. 500. Come up here. All-inclusive resorts, 21,000, 28,000. It's not even in the same universe, okay? So if you can rank for all-inclusive resorts, now this is going to be tough, okay? Belize all-inclusive resorts. We got to go see what's already there. Obviously, there's going to be a bunch of ads. Obviously, there's going to be a bunch of this. But you see TripAdvisor, 10 best Belize all-inclusive resorts, travel and leisure. Now, can you beat out TripAdvisor? No, probably not. Can you beat out Travel and Leisure Magazine? Probably not. But, there's some others here. Trip Savvy, Belize Adventure. This is what I want you to see. This is a private, Belize-focused website, and you have a private Belize-focused website. This is all of the confirmation that you need that you can rank on page 1. Now, are you going to rank number 1, number 2, number 3? Probably not. But you're going to get a lot of traffic by ranking on this page. A lot of traffic. People looking for resorts, they click through to your article, they land on your site, you give them a fantastic breakdown of the best resorts, kind of like insider information. Because the other thing here, TripAdvisor, they ain't giving you, this is such a generic list. Travel and Leisure, generic list. a lot of people want to hear from, no. I want to hear from people who are in Belize. I don't want to hear from some corporation who did a little bit of like 5 minutes of research about which resort had the best reviews and then they made their list. I want to hear from the people who have been there, lived there, whatever, who are experts in Belize. That's where I want to hear from, right? Where are the gems? What's the stuff nobody's talking about? That's where I want to go. There's a lot of people like that. So you're searching for the resorts, your site comes up, Belize, untamedbelize.com. Gives them the information on the resorts they need while also mentioning, hey, there's these awesome tours. And they see all over your website that you offer these tours. They weren't even planning on booking a tour. They didn't even know tours existed. They just wanted a resort, but now they're looking at swimming with whale sharks. Now they're looking at whatever else you got going on. And now they have the potential to become a client. So that's some SEO, just kind of for everybody. I'm not just talking to this person for their website, just explaining how we get started. Because right off the bat, I put in Belize, open-ended search with matching terms, and I just see a potential right here. I'm circling that one 100%. Then we come down and we see what else is going on. Okay, flights to Belize. Is Belize safe? Got to have an article on this. This is not just for SEO. This is for content marketing purposes. People are going to ask you over. It's probably an FAQ. Is Belize safe? Is Belize safe? Oh, here's our article on is Belize safe. And you just have 2,500 words on how safe Belize is, right? With photos. And it's not just answering the query. It's like secretly continuing the sales narrative, right? Like we have to continue to paint the picture of what you're going to experience when you're in Belize. And by the way, it's safe. But let me just take this opportunity to continue painting the picture of what you're going to experience when you're in Belize. So we get a really nice article here. So now you're ranking for is Belize safe? By the way, people planning on traveling to Belize, not thinking about tours, not thinking about anything else. They're just wanting to know, hey, I'm going to go there because it's beautiful and I'm going to do a vacation. Is it safe? Your article comes up. Now they're on your site. You're saying, yeah, it's safe. By the way, we have tours. Person wasn't even thinking about doing tours. Now they're swimming with whale sharks. You get it? So all of these things get identified as opportunities. Now, what we can see is untamedbelize.com. So we're going to take this right here and we can just do a quick site search, untamedbelize.com, resorts. And okay, here's one of Belize's best kept secrets. So you have one article on there. Here's why you need to visit Belize in March. No list of the best all-inclusive resorts. So, wait, here we go. Top social distancing and best resorts to vacation. But this is not specific enough, okay? We need one that's on that exact query that was asked earlier. What was the other one? Safe. Is Belize safe? I'll just do this. Is Belize safe? Okay, you have COVID-19 protocols. That's not what they were interested in. Nope. Okay, so there's one you're missing, right? And now I found this, guys, in 5 seconds. We've identified like 2 articles that absolutely have to be written, okay? Let's keep going down. I mean, you could do this all day long, right? And then we can start to get more specific. So now I'm going to do Belize tour. This is an example of getting more specific. We're just going to see if there's any long tail variations. Belize cave tour. Belize tour packages. So now we go back to here and we go to your Belize tours and we look up here and it says best Belize tours and activities, Belize travel packages. Okay, so you actually have the word packages in there. That's good. Best Belize tours. The other thing you want to say is, do people call these tours in their natural language or do they call them something else? Belize adventures, Belize, I don't know. There could be some other term that they use that you need to be searching for in terms of like doing the research. Cave tour Belize. Okay, where did I obviously you're going to have the word cave in that cave one over there. So that should mostly fit the bill. Belize jungle tour. Okay, so we're going to go back to our site search. Jungle tour. Jungle adventure tours in Belize. Okay, good. All right, so we're hitting some of the things right here. But look at this. Okay, another one, guys. And let's actually look at the structure of the blog post. Then we're going to move on because we've done enough with this site. This is a very critical detail right here, okay? The date. These are what are called, well, they're somewhat evergreen, okay? In the sense that if all these tours still exist, then that's good. But people want to know, what I'm getting at is if somebody sees a date and it appears to be out of date, it harms you, okay? So it's very, you have to be very careful when you put a date on your blog posts. News posts 100% need to have a date. They need to be documented. When was this posted? When was this news article from? I got to know. But on evergreen content, the date doesn't really matter unless there's some sort of relevance factor to it. If there's really not a lot of relevance to it, like if these are still the best tours, then having a date that says 2018 just leaves the user going, but hasn't things changed since then? Like, now, you know what they're thinking? They're like, now I got to go find an updated article. And they're going back to Google, right? So this one feels a little old to me. So I don't know if I can trust it. I don't know if this is still relevant. So you got to be very, very careful when you put dates, especially when it's a quote unquote last updated date. So it's letting me know this is way out of date, and I just don't know if I can trust the information, okay? So I would take the dates off of these altogether. Just have the headline up here. Your table of contents is also not properly pulling in your headings. And if we see here, more maybe semantic issues. H1, is this an H3? H3. Womp. Oh, that's the wrong one. There you go. So, I mean, where's your H2s, my guy? You can't go from 1 to 3. These should be H2s, and then I bet your table of contents is set to automatically pull in H2s. But since you're using H3s, it ain't pulling in anything. There's our related posts, and this is an H2, yeah? And I bet this is Oxygen's, one of their table of contents modules, which is a pain in the ass to use because it does stuff like this. It pulls in a heading from another section. That is irrelevant to the table of contents of this article. So you got a lot of stuff going on here that needs to be fixed and resolved. I like the fact that you've inserted some images in here. Oh no, hold on. Oh no, baby, what is you doing again? Okay, hang on. You can't put the photo before the heading in an article because it's some, like, most people would assume that the image goes with the heading and text above it, right? This photo should be between bird watching and this paragraph right here. So it says bird watching, then a photo of a bird, and then your text. So this is very, see, cave tubing? I'm like, that ain't a cave, Jack. This needs to be moved under guided nature hikes. It's like part of this section of content, right? You've put it above, and that's a no go for UX. Make these sticky over here so they follow the person down the page too, because you ain't got nothing else going on in the sidebar. So why not just let these things slide down with the user, kind of like your table of contents is here. All right, I'm just giving out. We're just going ham with the suggestions on this site. All right, so that's it on that one. Let's go back to chat and see what everybody's saying. Drop comments. What did you guys think overall of Untamed Belize? What is your main takeaway for them? Do you have any questions? Melvin says, I see good quality photos on their Instagram page. Maybe use some of those. Exactly. Perfect. I don't know that Instagram photos would be quite big enough because, like, those are going to be squares most likely. Instagram crops those, right? And then you need like widescreen photos. So you may end up with the same kind of problem. But if they have the originals before they got posted on Instagram, those might be 100% a good option. The +1 should already be added by choosing US as the code. Absolutely, Amanda. That is 100% correct. Okay. I thought I saw a question. Kevin, will you have LTD for automatic CSS? I feel like I answer this question like 70 times a week. I don't know. I mean, I've said no. We're testing an LTD option on frames alongside subscription options. I mean, I try to never say never, but right now it's not planned. What do you think of this chat tools on a lot of websites? Chat tools on a lot of websites. Chat tools, Untamed Belize. Oh, you're talking about this thing right here. Hi, are you there? Oh. I'll skip the newsletter. Typically reply within a few minutes. Let's just leave it there. Let's just see. I'm a fan of live chats when there are people there to respond. But on a very small website like this, and I actually just moved the window over to my other screen, which you guys cannot see, and I lost that chat window. It closed, and then when I opened it again, I cannot get back to the chat I just opened. So I guess it just has to sit there and maybe wait for somebody. I don't know if it'll come back when they respond, but it definitely went away when I moved it to the other screen. All right, let me get my windows organized here. We're going to bring in website number 2. Which is going to be a agency website. So we're going to dive into the world that we all know and love. But first, I need to know where my chat went. Okay. And I think there was another question. No, that was the question. All right, we're good. Hey there, new viewer. Welcome, Catherine. I hope you're getting a lot of value out of this. If you have any questions, drop them down below. Okay, we're going on to Flying Web Solutions. Let's put this in our tab right here. Let's get rid of Untamed Belize. Let's get rid of all of this. And we're starting fresh with Flying Web Solutions. Okay, no scroll test. We craft profitable brands and websites for startups. In order to be successful, businesses must have a professional website that is modern and scalable, as well as digital marketing strategies that are effective in generating a high return on investment. Get a free quote today. Little social proof icons or logos slider down here. Little sticky header action. Okay. Got a little glass morphism blur effect on there. All right. Let's scroll around a little bit. Take a look at our latest work. Okay. Good. Let's see the details on one of this. Find out more about this project. That's a little off-putting. Let's go back and click on the next one. That's what I was afraid of. So you've almost like adopted the brand of each thing on its page. But what it kind of feels like, for like a split second, I was like, did you just take me to their website? But no, I'm still on your website. It's branded now like your client. And I get what you were trying to do there. I just don't know. It's a little off-putting because it's like kind of a shock for a second to the user. It's like, well, where are we? I would like to see it more cohesively stay your brand as you're telling the story of the projects that you created, not like adopting the brand of your client while you tell the story. All right. I assume this is all CPT driven with custom fields. I just hope and pray. I hope and pray that you are not building these pages manually one by one. Please tell me, are you in the chat? Are you here? Are you here? Please tell me that this is all template driven. Increase in sales, new products, the challenge, what we did. Okay. Nice, large photos. I like it. The result. Okay. This is all good. All right. Putting a lot of time and effort into your project portfolio. This is good. Okay, let's go back. The only thing I didn't like about this is the changing the whole scheme of the website when you click on a project. That's the only thing I didn't like about that. All right. Really quick, efficient, knowledgeable, and listen carefully to our needs. Hazel. Okay. So this works without the testimonial. I don't know if you guys picked up on this. This little tiny person right here is this testimonial right here. But I'm looking right away at a picture of a person. I mean, I understand that this is the guy, right? So he's probably not giving his own testimonial. But it's just like you're overlapping a person with another person's testimonial. It's a little confusing. So I would just get rid of that. I think just this whole thing without that testimonial works just fine. I like the movement that's going on. It's subtle. It's not in my face. It's not messing with my, using the actual website. Let's see what we're saying in the chat. Something in the chat caught me. No, go make a project template of your site and fit the site in it. Yep. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. What can we do for you? So let's talk about this for a second. Do you guys think the project portfolio should come before the services, or should the services come before the project portfolio? Now, in my estimation, when somebody arrives, obviously you have the hero, but if it's a new visitor is probably going to say, well, what do you do? Because before I care about what you've done for other people, I just need to know what you do in general. Because if you don't offer the service that I'm looking for, I don't really care about all of your work, right? I don't care about your portfolio. So to me, logically, it makes sense to show your services first. And if they skim by those and they don't click on one, then it makes sense to show them your project portfolio. I need to know in the chat if you agree with that or not. Does that logically make sense? Parada says services first. Sylvia says, I thought the guy in the picture gave the testimonial. Yeah. So it kind of gives that vibe. It's a little confusing. So you can clean that up for sure. I don't like we've got a little, here we are again with design balance, okay? With rhythm in the design and the consistency of spacing. These cards are giving me an off-putting vibe. Why? Very large gap between the heading and the text. Very small gap between the top of the card right here, or the interior wrapper, and the heading. Another gap between the text and the button that is a different gap size from the other gaps. And then text that is clearly touching the edge of that inner wrapper. There's a lot going on wrong in this card, okay? So let's inspect this real quick and see exactly what's going on. Show me your DOM. What has happened here? Oh, that's even more interesting. Where is web design coming from? Okay. I don't know. This card structure is a little off. Okay, here's this. Services item heading. All right, so we see BIM. At least we've got BIM going on there. The good news is whatever we find that needs to be fixed can all be fixed in one spot. So that is the good news. Padding left, padding right are space M. Top and bottom are space XS. Okay. Services heading. That margin top right there is your problem. Okay. Where's our wrapper right here? This is what we started at. See, this is where you're getting your inconsistency right here. You've got MMMS. So let's just try to see what you were doing here. Now we go to the heading again, and it's probably got all that box shadow nonsense going on. Okay, this is what you kind of started with. Now at least we have more consistent spacing here. Then you add that box shadow in. But that box shadow is not spaced out enough. That is more like what we need, okay? Then you can try to bring your margin negative top back in. You still have the issue here. I still think this could have been done cleaner. I'm just trying to work with what you are doing here. Is there a box? No, this is the problem. You have a box, yeah? This is the container. This is the little box. But you're giving the things inside of the box the padding instead of giving the box the padding. The box needs the padding. And even like, let's see what's going on here. All right, left, right. See, that wasn't even really necessary. Maybe on mobile it was, but where is there's our span. Okay. Let's do the top and the bottom. Let's get rid of that too. That's okay. Let me get rid of the negative margin there, just so I can see what's going on again. And let's get rid of the box shadow again. Okay. I just want to see this box. Now, you've got your padding in there. All right, that's good. I think I see what was going on. Okay. I would have to build this from scratch again to try to show you how to do it the right way. It's hard to do when it's like working with the structure that's already there. You need a box inside a box effectively. You're missing one div. So your H3 and your P, that button is alone. So the H3 and the P just need to be in their own container. That container needs to have padding, and then you need to bring that padding, that container up so that it overlaps. That's just going to be a structurally better way to build that card. Now, from the full card layout, there's our article. So we're missing this is oxygen again. And I think I know why people are doing this with the article versus the ULs and LIs. Oxygen, when you are pulling in when you're using the repeater, so you're querying these should be a custom post type. Probably they are. So all of your services are a custom post type, which means you need to query them onto the page. Well, in Oxygen, you cannot use proper UL, LI structure with the repeater, because there's a fundamental flaw in the sense that the repeater has an inner div. The inner div, you cannot change semantically to be what it needs to be, which is an LI. And therefore, you have LIs inside of a div. So it's like div LI, div LI, div LI, and that breaks the structure of the list. It's a fundamental flaw in the Oxygen repeater. That flaw does not exist in Bricks. So it is better in that sense then to just move to using articles. But really, it's a list of services, so it should be semantically a list. But I like seeing hold on. Main inner. Div block services main inner. We got to talk about this BIM naming here, because I see this going wrong a lot as well. So you have a services wrapper, and then you have a services main inner. But this is a service card, right? So why isn't this just called service card? This should be service card, and then this, well, hold on. Okay, there's another problem. So we have a link wrapper, because I doubt it doesn't look like you used the clickable parent technique. We're wrapping everything inside of a link. All right, let's do a cover your ears, maybe. Hang on, F5. There we go.
Voiceover on Chrome. Flying Web Solutions, web design with style.
Let me switch
Google
the audio.
Chrome, Kevin, window.
There we go.
We value your privacy. We use cookies to enhance your browsing experience, serve personalized ads or content, and analyze our traffic. Customize button, link, get a free link, heading level 3, heading level 3. Web design for any business to succeed online. It is essential to have a high quality web design. Here are 4 steps to creating a memorable website. Read more web design. Flying Web Solutions read more about our service web design. Article. You are currently on a link. Voiceover off.
See what happens when you structure things wrong, right? It should announce this as like web design service, okay? Because I'm in a services, and if I had it in a list, right, it would announce that it's a list, basically a list of services, and then when I hover over one, it would say web design. Then the next one, it would say website support. You are beating poor people's eardrums if they're using a screen reader, right, or keyboard navigation or whatever. You are beating their eardrums with this, and I'm gonna let you experience it again, just because you're forcing them to experience it, so you should have to experience it again. Here we go.
Link, heading level 3. Website support. A lot of your business is conducted through your website, so it is important that it is kept up to date with any new information that comes into your business. Read more website support. Flying Web Solutions read more about our service website support. Article. You are currently voiceover off.
What did they just hover on? They have no idea, right? You just read them a whole paragraph of stuff with read more, with this, with that. I don't know. So this is why it's very, very important. I talk about like clickable parent technique. It's a little bit of extra work. With automatic CSS, it's one class. You just add the class, you're done, okay? But it's so worth it, because when you're worried about accessibility or caring about accessibility, you realize that this way of doing things, that people just slap stuff together, where it's like, oh, let's wrap the whole card in a link. Well, yeah, that gets the job done for a visual user who's able to just hover and click and read everything. But the minute somebody starts using a keyboard and has to use, voiceover or any other basic screen reader functions, this screws them completely. So it's totally inaccessible. So what we need is the web design word gets the link, and then you use clickable parent to expand that to the entire card wrapper. And then when they hover over, it just says web design, website support, brand design, SEO agency, digital marketing. You also have read mores. Is this a link as well? Or is this a dummy button? Div. Okay, that looks like a dummy button. So that's fine. But you've wrapped everything in a link, and the screen reader has no idea what to announce. So it just announces literally everything that is in the card gets announced on every single card. So I would clean that up right there. That's a show me your DOM kind of situation. But the good news is, you're using BIM and all of that. But what I was saying originally is your BIM naming is a little bit off, right? So if I want to use this service card in some other context or capacity, it's really hard to do, because it's telling me it's a child element of a block called services. And it really doesn't need to be. It's its own component. So the rule in BIM is if the thing can be a standalone element, it's no longer a child of anything. It needs to be its own block, element, modifier, BEM. You're making it an E. Right now it's an E. It needs to be a B. Okay, it needs to be its own block with its own children. And see, you see this here with the link wrapper just says services item, but it's not. See, the block is services, but where is the services block? It's up there somewhere, if it even exists. It needs to be service card item, service card inner, service card whatever, any other thing that goes in here. Service card item content. See, this is services item content. This child is in a card, but it's linked to a block that I can't even find. So some BIM naming issues going on here, which I'm not just harping, right? It's like anytime I feel like I have to just remind people this. I'm talking to everybody at once. I'm not talking to the person who built the site. I'm talking to everybody, as if everybody built the site like this, just so everybody can learn what to do, what not to do. Okay. So I'm not talking to this one person, because this happens on site after site after site after site after site. This is not the only person doing this. Okay. So I'm just talking to everybody as a whole. All right. Let's go to a service page. See what we're doing for selling our service of web design. High quality web design for your business. Your business will benefit from innovative designs, responsive web design, custom built. Okay. This visual, guys, let's just ask a simple question. Does the visitor want to see code, or do they want to see a beautiful website? That's all the question I will ask. You can come to your own conclusion. What type of web design service do you need? Membership website, bespoke web design, e-commerce development. Okay, let's click on membership website. I like that. Let's go back to the concept of bucketing, right? We're bucketing here. So this is good. This is what you should be doing. Figure out what kind of website they need, and let's get them to that page so that we can talk about that thing specifically. That's good. Paratus, I see your question. We will answer that in just a second. Marcus, I see your question. We'll answer that in just a second. High quality web design in 4 steps. So we have process. This is good. Build a sitemap, web design UI, UX in Figma. Create unique content. Optimize the website. I feel like we're missing some stuff here. First of all, I don't think that they need to know that you do the UX and UI in Figma. I don't even know that I would do UI UX. I usually write out user experience design, because nobody outside of the industry knows what UX is. So I actually write the words user experience design because any layman can be like, oh, they're designing the user experience. It's all right there for me. And I'll put UX in parentheses so that if they see UX reference, that now I'm teaching them what this term is, but I try to use the actual word. And they don't need to know about what tools you're using. They don't care. They don't need to know. Then we get to create unique content. All right, that's a good step. I like that that's being done. How do we go from Figma to content to optimize to preparing the website for launch as the final step? You're missing something, right? Logically, I'm like, well, when does that thing get built, right? Is my website built in Figma? What's that, right? So now you have somebody that's like, they have no idea what Figma is. You've left out the obvious step of building the actual website. Now that probably is like, well, what's Figma? Is that like Wix? So now they think their whole site's going to exist in Figma now. I don't know. They could be all sorts of confused here. So you've got to rethink this a little bit, how you're presenting this process. And by the way, sometimes people boil process down because they're like, make it 3 steps, make it sound real simple. If it's simple, they'll go for it. But if it's a custom website, we're on, what did I click on? I clicked on membership sites. First of all, hold on. First of all, let's go back. I just noticed the gigantic disconnect here. Unless I clicked on the wrong thing again. I clicked on web design. Okay, now I went back. I think we're good. Let me make sure that this goes to where it's supposed to go. Oh, okay, good. All right. Never mind. I was lost for a second. I had hit back somewhere. All right. So, yeah, when you're doing custom web design, you actually want them to think, oh, this is kind of involved. This is a little bit complex. Because a lot of the people you're trying to sell to in the back of their mind are thinking, but I saw that Wix commercial that said anybody could build a website, right? So they're thinking in their mind, they might be able to do this on their own. Now they're looking at your process for a custom website. They need to come to the realization, I can't do this stuff on my own, right? So there's a benefit in maybe this having 6 steps or 7 steps. There's a benefit in having more steps when it's something that's hard and difficult and complex, and a lot does go into it. If you make it seem so easy, they don't know why they're not doing it on their own because that's what the Wix commercial said. And number 2 is they don't know why they're paying you $10,000 or whatever, price you're going to give them that hopefully is above like 500 or 1,000 or something like that. So if it's like, oh, it's a 1, 2, 3, right? Oh, why am I paying you $10,000 for a 1, 2, 3? Right? There's a disconnect there as well. So it can benefit you to just have more steps in your process. I would try to be a little less wordy inside of these cards. But maybe build more steps in and make it more clear on really all the thought and care that goes into this. It's all about purposeful web design. Make your online. Okay, so we're just doing some quick talking points here. Rapid fire, user-friendly layouts, intelligent web design. Okay, let's do a little test here. Make your online presence more efficient. Does anybody know what that means? Convert browsers to buyers. Check. Got it. Want that to happen. Rank higher in search engine. Check. Want that to happen. User-friendly layouts. Not sure. Intelligent web design. Did anybody know? Anybody know what that means? Anybody know? Transparent web design process. Okay, check. Got it. All right. I want transparency. A+ customer service. Check. I want that. So there's some good things in the list. There's a couple things that need to be reworded, rethought out. What are you trying to communicate with some of these things? Because I guarantee you the person that's about to buy a website from you, they don't know what a efficient online presence means. I'm in the industry. I don't even know what that means. It could mean 1,000 different things. I don't know what it means specifically. So some of these have to be rethought out here. A+ quality flying web solutions gives the top support for web design. Okay. Case studies, testimonials, all good. And hold on, I'm going back. We're going to the about page now. Something is coming to me. Okay. Flying web solutions, designing and developing websites for Ireland. Okay. All right. David Delgado. All right. Okay, I thought it was going to be somebody else, but it's David. All right, so let's go back to where we were real quick. I want to go into the long tail now, membership website, because I'm intrigued about this. I'm wondering if you have a lot of clients that need membership websites, or like, is this a niche you're trying to break into? All right, so we've got a bunch of text over here, call to action over here. This feels like a lot. I'm just going to tell you right now. Like I read copy, but not really when it's presented like this. Just break this up more, give me some bullets like you did on the other page, some quick digestible stuff. This feels a little heavy. Okay. Definitely break these up into smaller paragraphs. So I can't really grade what this says because I just don't want to read it. It's like it's a giant wall of text. These are all the same talking points as before. Okay. All right. We've done enough. Let's see our FAQs here. How much does a membership website cost? Okay. You've got a little bracket going on here. How long does it take to build a new membership website? What technology is best for my membership website? This actually should not be buried in an FAQ. You need an entire section because, again, let's put ourselves in the shoes of a person who is needing a membership website, because membership websites have a unique kind of place in the sense that there are many, many done-for-you solutions. It's not really just a website. It's like an application because it has to be so interactive for the people that use it. So the question is, should I get a membership website built custom, or should I just use a third-party platform? This is the main thing people are going to be deciding when they're, thinking about this. So if you have a whole page dedicated to membership websites, you have got to talk about the difference between you creating it for them, custom, how it's going to be done, what kind of features it's going to have, and then their third-party platform options. And you got to tell them, when is a custom website the right fit? When is one of these third-party platforms not the right fit? I'll just tell you right off the bat, this is a very difficult niche to win in because of all the third-party options that are available. And I am in this, as far as a user, a customer, right? And almost always, I can build my own membership website. Almost always, I will use a third-party platform over building my own or paying to have a custom website built. And that's from somebody who knows how to do it, okay? So this is a hard sell. There's got to be some really clear benefits over why they should go custom versus using a third-party platform. I mean, you guys know I use circle.so for the inner circle. That's a membership website. That's a membership platform. It's really, really tough because of all the features that are needed and the integrations and the automations and it'll make your head spin, right? Find a good third-party platform. All those problems are solved instantly. This is going to be a tough sell, I would gather. Okay, let's check out the blog. See what's going on the blog. This is very tough, by the way. You'll notice that I came up in content marketing, SEO. I don't blog for agency sites. It's because you're competing against the people who do this for a living. Like, you're with a ton of resources, a ton of knowledge. It's so tremendously competitive. Not to mention other agencies you're competing with. There's so many big players, HubSpot and all these gigantic content marketing companies that have already solidified the top 5, 6, 7 spots on all these relevant topics. So it's not, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, is the conclusion I came to. There's way better channels for marketing to put your time and effort into. And really, it's like your clients are not perusing this blog looking for tips. The only thing that I would say, who kind of did it right if they were an agency, the Story Brand guy. I'm terrible with names, by the way. Just like even this guy, I can't even remember his freaking name. All right, it's going here. Don Miller. All right. So I don't want to go to YouTube on here. YouTube, Don Miller. Keep it simple. Yeah, here we go. Is this his channel? No, that's somebody else's. Great. Let's do Story Brand. YouTube Story Brand. Maybe his channel's on there as that. Business Made Simple, powered by Story Brand. Okay. These are the kind of videos and kind of content that would make sense. And you see that this is a different channel, but a lot of his videos really speak to like CEOs and like C-level executives. He doesn't really, I don't think he has an agency or whatever, but that's the kind of content that would be good to produce because it speaks right to perhaps your target market and gives them, look at this, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 2 minutes. So he answers a lot of queries. He talks about a lot of stuff he wants to talk about that he feels is important for, growing your business and organize. That kind of content, I think, would be better to invest the time and effort in than just writing more articles that hardly anybody's going to read that can probably never rank for much of anything. So you haven't spent a ton of time here. There's not 100 articles. There's like probably 8 or 9. You may want to consider switching gears, going away from blogging and get into some other form of content production. Let's do some questions and comments from the chat. Sylvia says, this menu changing its size horizontally is distracting. I agree with that. I agree. It's cute. It's like, I see why, like what you were thinking. Hey, let's try to find a way to be more creative with this. But it is distracting. I actually don't like, I don't know what it is, man. I don't know why I seem to be like not on the bus with everybody. I don't like sticky headers at all. I am just not a fan. I don't like, I don't like that's in my way when I'm trying to scroll down the page. Because on a mobile device, we don't have a lot of real estate. You know what I'm saying? And you're taking up 10% of the real estate with the sticky header. I also don't like here's another thing. I don't understand the fascination with back to top buttons. I had this conversation with my team the other day. We were talking about, some third party thing had a widget for adding a back to top button, or I think it was in Brix's changelog somewhere. They added a back to top, and I've seen it requested. Oh, it was on there. Was it on Brix's roadmap? And it had like, I don't know, 3,000 votes or something ridiculous. The back to top button. Guys, what is the fascination? Get in the chat right now. What is the fascination with a back? I have never clicked on a back to top button in my life on a website, except when I'm doing stuff like this. Now I'm going to click on this. Watch. Okay. You saw that? Now watch this. What is the difference? I just flicked my mouse, like just flick it and it's there. It actually got there faster when I used my mouse. I had to wait for this little animation to start instead of just flicking it, and I'm back at the top. What is the fascination with the back to top buttons? Because I see them everywhere. I don't know why they exist. It's just another element that's in my way, kind of floating around the website here, covering up text that I'm trying to read, and it provides me zero value whatsoever. I'm aggressively clicking it because it makes me want to like punch it. All right, I'm being a little facetious. If that word means what I think, I don't even know. What do you guys think, though? Tell me in the chat. What is the fascination? All right, let's go up and read some comments. Let's get some questions. I'm just gazing lovingly at the clean DOM output in Bricks. I don't miss oxygen. Yes. Okay. So what is the big difference here? Let's go inspect. So you see all these IDs, all of those, and everyone has one. Every freaking element has one, right? All go away in Bricks. There's a setting in Bricks where you just turn off the IDs. And the ID is only there if it needs to be there. There's only 2 reasons why it would need to be there: is you added a style at the ID level or you added an anchor. Those are really the only 2 reasons why the ID would need to be there. And there are times where it is legitimate to style at the ID level in very select circumstances. And so it'll need to put an ID on there if you do that, or at least a unique class of some sort. But either way, it doesn't really matter. But having an ID on every single element is just, it's a nightmare. And then you've got all these CT, div, block, I mean, some of that's in bricks, but it's just, Bricks' DOM is a lot cleaner. All right, let's see. Question. Can you show us the clickable parent technique in ACSS on a card? What element should have this class? The heading should have the class. So this card right here, DM, I can't even pronounce that. Cork Lotus Yoga would be your link. And then you make the card position relative because clickable parent uses a position absolute pseudo element. So you need to capture it at the parent level by being position relative. If you haven't watched my whole video, I did a whole video yesterday, 35 minutes on every position, okay? Fixed, relative, sticky, absolute, everything. Covered the whole thing in detail and made it really beginner friendly. So if you watch that video or you already know, this would be position relative to capture our absolute element. This gets the pseudo element. And in ACSS, literally, guys, it's you click the heading and then you add clickable parent, a class. You add one class, clickable parent, and it just does all the work for you. Okay, you still have to make this card relative, position relative, but all the other work is done for you. And then this becomes the actual link, but the clickable area remains the entire card. The hover effect remains on the entire card. You're just quickly changing the underlying DOM structure so that for accessibility purposes, when these are focused, watch, let's do it again. Let's do it again because we didn't do these earlier.
Cookies, link. Find out more about our case study for Cork Lotus Yoga, feature image, article. You are currently on a link. To click this link, press Control, Option, Space.
So that actually announced, find out more about this project, Cork Lotus Yoga, and then it read the image, alt text, and whatever. So it only had a little bit extra put in there. It wasn't quite as bad as the service card, but it was still not correct. Let me close that. All right, good. So it just makes it super, super, super clean. And I've shown it in videos. So I know you're asking about seeing it. It's hard to whip up a site and do that on the fly real quick. I mean, I could, but it's like we have other things that we're supposed to be doing here on Web Design for Dommies. So just it's in a bunch of my other videos. You can go back and see. I do it with ACSS. I think I even did it manually in one of the videos where I just showed the entire process of how to make it happen without ACSS. All right, back to questions here. How do you come up with BIM names? So this is very easy. Let's go to, let's do this. Okay. I don't want to do that. All right, let's do, where can I go? All right, you're going to force me to open a site. All right, pages, all pages, find something. Let's just do new. How about that? All right, BIM. I have a whole video on BIM, by the way. Oh, that's a post. What am I doing? Pages, add new. Okay, there we go. Edit with bricks. All right, here we go. Let's go grid 3, gap M, add a block. Here's our card, right? So we've got our card element. I'm just going to say card. Let's use this exact service card right here. Okay. I'm just going to whip this up. We're not going to style this. We're not going to do anything else. We're just going to talk about BIM. Okay. So I add an image for those of you who are scared. We're not doing a whole mini tutorial here. We're just doing this. All right. Then we're going to add a block inside. This is the wrapper for our body content, okay? We're going to put our heading. Now, if you wanted to do the cool overlap little technique in there, we could put another block inside of that block, right? So now we have what would effectively call the body, and then this would be like an inner, and then we can do a heading. We need one of those. I think you had some text in there. So you had a little text in there. And then you had, I believe, a button in there. And so we're going to add a button. Perfect. That all goes in our inner. And that's pretty much every element that you had. Now, this would need to be switched to a figure tag. Hey, and while we're here, we'll just do a little clickable parent technique, okay? We'll just make everybody happy. It's what we do here on Web Design for Dommies. All right, so let's start at the card level. See, I can collapse this card, and we can go one thing at a time. BEM, block, element, modifier. This is the block. So we have to name the block. The question was, how do you name things in BIM? Give the block a name that makes sense. This is a card. What kind of card is it? It's a service card. We cannot just, I've seen people just say card. They just put a class called card. What are you doing? What are you doing, right? There's many types of cards. Nobody knows what this card is, what's it for. And again, I talk about the 3-month rule. 3-month rule is, can you build a site, leave it alone for 3 months, come back, read classes, read CSS, and still know what's going on without inspecting every little detail of the website? Because if you can't, you did it wrong, okay? It's not maintainable. So you don't want to spend hours of time deciphering things you did a long time ago to figure out what needs to happen next. It just needs to all make sense when you look at it, okay? So it is a service card. It's for a service, all right? So service card. We're just going to name it. There you go. There's your block. Now, we open our block, and I'll just name it over here so you guys can see the same things kind of match, all right? Now there's our image. Okay, the naming, guys, is pretty much done. You don't have to really think any further. What is this? It's an image. Okay, so you write the name of the block again, double underscore, and then just call the thing what it is, image. Now in frames, we use media because it could be an image, it could be a video, we don't know what the person's gonna put there. If you wanna do that, you can do that, it's fine. Because everybody still knows what media is, all right? But if you wanna be very specific, you could just say, hey, this is my image. Now, here's a body wrapper. Okay, do I need to really think here? No, I don't. It's a service card, and then I'll give you a trick. You write the BIM with the little stem, copy it, and then you can move very fast. Now you write body, okay? Now we come over here. This is an inner. It is the inner for a body, my friends. Do not do this. This does not semantically make sense. Somebody just hit a thumbs down. What are you thumbs downing? Drop in the chat. Don't thumbs down. Use your words, okay? Use your words. Let me know what you're so upset about right now. Don't call this an inner. It's not just an inner. We got to know what it's an inner for, right? It's the body inner. So you do body inner. You don't do this. There are no children of children in BIM. There are no, this is one of those notes you can just write down. There are no children of children in BIM. It's just a body inner. That's all it is, okay? Body inner. Now, we're going to go to our heading. Let me put that on there. We're going to go to our heading. What is this, guys? Is this a body inner heading? No, it's not. It's not. Everybody knows, because we can visually see it, this is the heading of the service card. So it's just service card heading. That's all it is. Service card heading. All right, then we do basic text. What is this going to be? This is going to be our description. Now, you could call this lead. You could call this description. You could call, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you call it. There's no rule book, okay? I'm going to call it description. The question is, can somebody look at that class and look at that element and it makes sense in their brain? That's the question, okay? So you use a semantically correct name. You could even call it text if that's the only text that's there. There's no other text, so that's it right there. As long as it makes sense, then you can call it that. Now we go to button, okay? See, I'm just hitting paste on my keyboard, so I don't have to write the same thing over and over again. Now I have my button. Now also, you can put a button primary on here. You know, if you're using a utility class for your buttons, because all buttons across the website always look the same. But if you needed this button to be unique, you also have this class right here that's, right, a child of the service card. And that's where we would put unique styles related to the service card. This establishes our global button styles. This establishes any customized styles related to a service card. Okay, so this gives you maximum flexibility. All right, and then you go ahead and you just start styling everything. But I've just named all of my things. So it's not hard. There's only some instances where it's a little bit difficult. It's like, okay, what should I call it? It takes a little bit of extra thought. But the amount, and here's the thing, I can't grasp this. People criticize BIM like Tailwind, okay? Tailwind's creator, a core criticism of BIM, and the reason Tailwind is promoted as you don't need any custom classes, you don't use BIM, we use all utility classes, okay? He's like, it's hard to come up with names, okay? That's like, great argument, Jack. I know there's other arguments, but seriously? Like, oh, it's hard to come up with names. Like, one, not really, but two, when there is a little bit of trouble coming up with names, the trouble coming up with names pales in comparison to the trouble of having everything built with utility classes and you have no global control over an element. Now, I know in Tailwind, when it's done properly in a code editor, not in a page builder, you have multi-cursor editing. You have a lot of features that don't exist in page builders that solve the problems that I've brought up. In a page builder, no, my friend, you are what is called screwed. So like I was saying, coming up with names is not difficult, and any difficulty that is there pales in comparison to the difficulty of maintaining a website that's styled at the ID level or styled with pure utility classes or any of these other methods that are going on out there. BIM is the easiest, simplest, most maintainable, most scalable CSS structure that there is. Period. End of story, end of discussion. Okay? It's really, I don't know how there is an argument against it or otherwise. In fact, I was just watching a video. I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to call anybody out. It was a video on Tailwind in bricks. It was a 3-something hour tutorial. Okay? And it was for building a fairly simple homepage. Now, there was a lot of talking. There was a lot of, let me show you this. You're a beginner. You don't know what to do. Okay. But still, watching the details of building that page with Tailwind in a page builder, I messaged my team. I said 2 things. Number one, I said, this is the greatest sales video for automatic CSS that's ever been created. And it didn't even mention ACSS. Okay. Greatest sales tool because my second conclusion was, if I ever have to build a site like that, I'm going to go jump off a high-rise face first, okay? It was like, what is going on here? This is so ridiculously technical and just making everything 100 times harder than it needs to be. And then at the end of the day, when you're done doing it way harder than it needed to be done, you still don't have global maintainability or scalability over any of the reusable elements. It does not make any sense whatsoever. So the argument that, it's hard to come up with BIM names. No, it's not. And then any little bit of difficulty that there is pales in comparison to the alternatives. Okay. So that's my rant. You guys got me ranting now. All right. Clickable parent. We didn't do it. Okay. Right here. Watch this. So we're going to go view this on the front end, right? Nothing is clickable except for this button right here. And this button, I did not even give a link, okay? So notice no link on the button. So it is actually not, see, I can tab focus right there. Now here, now nowhere, because this button is not focusable because it has no URL. All right, now we're going to add a link to this heading. So link to external URL, #. Got it? Save. Now let's go to the front end, refresh. That is clickable. That is also focusable, okay? Now we are going to go to our parent service card, style, layout, position, relative. Now I do want to show you this, guys, because there is a little bit of a hiccup here, and it's related to bricks. Bricks trying to do a little too much for us. They're trying to be a little too helpful, okay? We'll see if it happens. All right, so I have made the card relative. I'm going to go to this heading now, and I'm going to say clickable parent right there. Bam. Okay, now save. Let's go refresh. Perfect. Now you see that this text is clickable. Button's still clickable. Notice the button doesn't hover. It's a fake button. Notice the heading is clickable. Oh, good. All right, it's actually not causing a problem. Sometimes the images, there's a class in, by default, bricks makes images position relative. And when it's position relative, it will actually appear on the Z index above the clickable area. And so most of your card will be clickable, but then the image won't be. And it's like, what is going on? And the image has to be overridden back to static, basically. But it doesn't appear to be happening now. And I don't know why it doesn't happen every time. I just run into it occasionally. So now we have an entire clickable card. You saw how easy that was with the automatic CSS class. Now, the only thing left to do is because nothing has a hover style, nobody knows that it's clickable. So very simple, you come into your service card. Now I'll give you guys a little tip, little pro tip, okay? This little thing up here, I just covered this in my latest advanced tutorial. I don't ever touch this thing. This pseudo class thing, this drop down, hover, all this, trash can. I'm just say it. What I love bricks. I love bricks. I love Thomas. I love all. Okay, this area is a trash can. It just makes pseudo elements and everything so absolutely difficult. You get stuck like with the panel being open, whether this is on or not on, whether there's an X to clear. Oh gosh, it gives me a headache. It gives me a nightmare. So what I'm gonna do, grab your service card, go to the CSS tab, root. This fixes it. This saves us. And by the way, you can't do this in Oxygen. Okay, this is phenomenal. So root. We're going to go with hover, right? So root hover. So I'm adding hover styles, if I can do the word hover correctly. I'm adding my hover styles right here. So we can do like a transform of translate. We'll do our Y translation, and we'll do like -1M. And then we'll see. There's my little hover. And then get this, guys. So if I did this inside a panel, let me show you the other way. I would have to go, God, I hate doing this. My brain is already pounding already. So I click on hover and it opens this hover style. Then I have all of my panel again. I'm adding a hover style, but the only way to know that is because there's a little badge right up there. And then this thing is yellow. That's it. So then you come down here and you're like, all right, I'm gonna go all the way into my transform menu. That's 1 level deep, 2 levels deep. Give it a Y adjustment up -1M. And then I'm like, you know what? I need to put a transition on that. Okay, so, I got to go back to my, wait, I'm already on my service card. Wait, I got to come in here. Oh, do I clear this? No, I don't clear it. Hold on. Oh, I got to turn that off. Then I got to go over and I got to find my transform, my transition. Oh, that's all the way down here. Okay, you guys understand the problem here? Now I'm going to clear this out. Watch this. Just watch. Service card, CSS. Put my instruction for hover. Now, yeah, you have to know how to write CSS. I get it, right? But if you know how to write CSS, you should be doing it this way. You should not be messing with this. Don't even touch this panel up here. Okay, no-go zone. Now look, I need to add my transition. Guys, it's right there. It's right there. Okay, so here's my hover. You cannot add the transition to the hover. All right, don't do that. You add the transition to the non-hover parent, but it's right there, right? And I can even say, isolate it to the transform. 0.3 seconds ease. Woo, nice. Okay, 0.2, make it a little faster. How about slow it down? Oh, okay. So we do anything we want right here, have access to our transition instruction right there. How many panels did I go through? I open one panel and I'm doing all my work. I open one panel, I'm doing all my work, I'm good to go. Versus like, let me click in here, let me click this thing, let me go dig into here, let me have to turn this thing off, let me go back into these panels. Oh my gosh, so inefficient. It's a knock on bricks that this needs to be a better user experience, but it's a plus for bricks in the sense that this area is somewhat masterful. What you can do with these roots, what you can do with direct children of roots, what you can do with inf children of roots, like that is very, 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 very powerful. So if you know what you're doing with writing CSS, you should be living in this panel and not doing anything with all this nonsense up here. And even with a lot of the other panels, it can just be skipped. You can do, the ability. I'm doing a video on this soon. The ability to define, and you guys know this if you're a frames user, to locally scope variables inside of your root, inside of classes in this box right here without having to go somewhere else. Amazing. Very, very powerful stuff. Okay, Did that answer your question about clickable parent? And did that answer the other question about naming BIM? Let's go back to the chat and see what's going on. All right, the better question for me, which I thought Kevin was going to voice, was why does the user need to go back to the top and focus on that more? Sticky header and footer nav are good for UX in my opinion. I don't know. I don't think sticky headers and footers are good for UX. Not for me. For me, I feel like they get in my way. If I need to go back to the navigation, I know where it's at. I'll flick my mouse to the bottom or I'll flick my mouse to the top. I'm there in a split second. So I don't need a button to take me there and to animate me as I go there. And I don't need the things in my way as I'm trying to get to the content that I was actually looking for in the first place. That's my argument against back to top and sticky everything. All right, question, why not name heading as service card body inner heading as opposed to service card heading? Because we're trying to be efficient as well. And we don't want to write an entire manual. And then every time you have to reference that heading, you got to write it again. And so the longer your headings get, the more just writing you have to do for no benefit whatsoever. Because there's only one heading in this card. So what else could it be? It couldn't be anything else. And there's not going to be, it's a service card. There's not going to be another heading ever, right? It's just one heading per card. So the only time things start to get long is when there's very specific things in very specific places. Like your card gets a lot more. Let's go back here. Let's go to getframes.io/changelog, what we looked at in the very beginning, right? Now you're going to start to see like and this is still, first of all, this entire thing is a card. Outside of the white area, this is all an extension of the card because it's a line item in the changelog. So there's some stuff that's not showing up because I didn't fill out the custom fields for them that will show up dynamically when custom fields exist. But if you go in here and inspect the class names for this, you're going to see it's a lot different. And there are longer names for things because things are so specific. But when you're doing something simple and it's a very simple component, then very simple classes absolutely get the job done. And everybody knows what you're talking about. Everybody knows what you're referencing. There's no other options. There's nothing to get confused about. So you don't have to over detail the class names. At that point, it's only a downside because it's less efficient to read. It's less efficient to write. It's less efficient to reference. Totally love just adding the CSS to the parent. Yep, absolutely. I'll show you guys here. Like, let me show you what I'm talking about. How like I do things. And you can watch, like I said in the beginning, the entire tutorial of me building this changelog is about to be released in the inner circle. We're going to have to jump in like 7 minutes. So we'll finish with this. Okay, let's take a look at this structure over here. God, I wish I could put it on the other screen because my microphone stand is kind of in my way. All right. All right, that's somebody else commenting about back to top. We'll check that in a second. All right, let's collapse this. So you have timeline section alpha. Let's collapse everything. Okay, then open this. So here's timeline alpha. This is a component, right? There you can see the blue border. That is the changelog component. The main, I can take that. It's a block, right? It's the B in BIM. And you can see it's timeline alpha right there. So I can take that and drop it into any page, any section, anywhere. It'll exist. It won't break. Nothing is related to its parent. Nothing, okay? It is an independent global block. Now, we're going to open it. Okay, we have a list inside of it, a UL. So we're establishing with this wrapper proper list structure of these items, okay? And it's actually an OL. I made that change earlier. I didn't make it on this live site, but I made it on the Frames site. So this is an ordered list because these things go in order. Make sense? All right, so it's an ordered list, and then we're opening our list, and we see a list item. Well, look at that. That's interesting, right? That is an LI. It's going to output an LI, but it's also a grid, and it's a large grid that spans all the way across, but we're only putting content on one side of the grid. So this is quite complex. Now, I'm going to open this up. You can see the classes, timeline alpha, list item. Right? So everybody knows this is a list item in timeline alpha. Then we're going to open this timeline alpha content. So there's the content side, the content container of the list item itself. So that houses all of the content. That's basically effectively what I said is a card. Now, it cannot get its own B class. It's not a block because you can't just take this and drop it somewhere else. It's not going to make any sense. It only makes sense when it's in a timeline, right? All right, so then we're going to get to our header. Our header is a block which self-contains these 3 items, which only one of these items is ever shown. There's conditional logic on these, okay? So that header contains that. And then this body down here contains what effectively looks to be an independent card when you view this on the front end. This right here, okay? But really all of this is one card with just a header that has no background and a body that does have a background. And then in our body, we have a lead paragraph, which you can't see because like I said, conditional logic. I didn't put any lead paragraphs in yet. And then you have your line items wrapper. So all of the line items are wrapped. These 2 things are loops. Both of these are loops. One loops through related posts. The other one loops through custom fields. Again, you can watch me build this entire thing inside the inner circle if you want to. But look, we're still very basic. Look at this, changelog line item, changelog line item, right? Open it up, open this one up. And then we have the changelog line item title, right? Title, it's not a child of the line item. It's just it, but it's associated with the line item. So line item title. Okay. And then we have our badge, changelog line item badge. See, everything is super consistent. Okay. And then we go into the front end, we inspect, and we just open this up here. Okay. Notice that's what I was talking about. There's no IDs. See how we also have a time element? Let's just show you the level of detail that goes into frames. Okay. People just don't even realize this stuff. So I'm going to go click on the date up here. So timeline alpha date. Look at this. The tag is a time tag. And then under here, we have the attribute of date time. Okay. And we also have the date outputted in machine readable format because that's what has to happen in a date time attribute according to the HTML spec. So we do all of that for you basically. And if you're confused by any of this, let's go to getframes.io and see why the new documentation exists in the way that it is. So I go to changelog. Let me go, actually, it's not going to be in there. Let me go to, all right, we'll just look at it. We'll just look at it. So here's the, oh, it's not library. That was the old link. It's frames. There we go. All right, load. Thank you. Okay. So here is the new library. Okay, you got your facets and all this other stuff going on. Now, it's not populated yet, really. It's just minimally populated. That's why I haven't really released it yet. But let's click on Timeline Alpha. So first of all, on Timeline Alpha, you can see that this is what it started as. This was the starting point, right? And you can see that when you customize it, hey, it looks kind of radically different, doesn't it? But this was the starting point. Oh, you want to see a style preview? Okay, there's a preview of it styled, right? Just one example of how you might want to style this. You can flip and toggle back and forth right there. Now you come down and look at this. So you've got a whole write-up, but come down here with me. Come down here with me. Locally scoped variables are all documented. We'll take a look at those in just a second. And then look at these HTML5 tags and attributes. Why did I put these here? So that users can understand what's in this frame and how it works. So look, you're like, date time, what the heck is that? So you click on it. How to use the date time attributes in frames. Wow, there's a whole write-up that shows you exactly what a time element is, what a date time attribute is, why it needs to be output in machine readable format. It tells you exactly how to do it, right? It even gives you the example here if you want to use dates and times together, how to do that in the attribute. You can actually learn a lot by using frames, but also your stuff's just going to be built way better. All right, so that's another little side tangent there. So we were looking at all of this. I was trying to find out if any of these were really got long in the names. That's what I was originally looking for. Not really. They actually stayed kind of short. But you end up with a very clean structure. So look at this. Right now, there's 2 elements. Oh, by the way, the changelog itself is query looped. Every list item, right? Let's go to, here it is right here. List item, you see the little query loop icon? So this will work whether it's 2 items, whether it's 20 items, and I can even paginate it without breaking the design. So this can flawlessly go from page to page to page without breaking the timeline effect. So it's very, very flexible, I guess, in that regard. But look how clean the structure is. There's an unordered list with list items. That's it. And then inside the list items, you've got obviously all the children elements, but just from a overall, it's not, if you saw this in Elementor, there would be so many divs, you would never be able to figure it out. You would never be able to figure it out. Here, it's like, there's my grid, and there's my list items in the grid. And it's just very, very, very clean. Semantically accurate. Like I said, that should have been an OL. Okay. Fix that. But you get it. You get the point. So that's that. And if you want to see me build the whole thing, it's in the inner circle. Did it from scratch. Didn't even have an idea of what I wanted it to look like before we started. It was literally like, watch me work. I'm just going to load timeline alpha. Okay. So we started with that right there. And I'm like, let's go at it. Let's figure out what all the custom fields need to be, how we're going to do the bidirectional relationships. You'll see, some of the troubleshooting that had to happen. It's a very, very, very in-depth tutorial. All right, let's get back to the chat. We got to get out of here. So I'm going to do some last calls on questions and things like that. I was just typing as you said it. Much how to learn examining how frames are built. Frames documentation is looking to be another great learning resource. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's one of our goals with frames is that, it speeds up your workflow. But if you're curious, like how is something done? How would you build a timeline in bricks? We'll just load up the timeline and inspect exactly how it was built. And everything is, not only are all the classes already done for you, except on the stuff you need to add custom, right? But everything in the structure panel is labeled exactly what it is. And it's, that's what I was going to show you guys. My gosh, what are we doing here? Okay, timeline alpha, activate class. Let's take a little trip through our CSS tab here, okay? So you see right here, and this is a kind of a minimalist version of it, but we use locally scoped variables. This is what I was talking about a minute ago. So the gap between elements in the timeline, like where the bottom of this is and the start of this element, well, that might be hard to adjust if you had to dig into the styles and the code and all these elements. Which element is it on? You don't have to know any of that. Here's timeline gap, right? Let's do like 8M. So let's just you see what's happening to our timeline? Let's make it 18M. See how that gap is changing between elements? I don't have to know where that style is. I don't have to know how it works. I can just adjust it here, right? So let's put it back to, let's use one of our other variables. So we'll do var container gap. All right. And then we get that. If I want it to be a little bit bigger, you can even use a calc in here. All right. So you can go, let's see if it'll write it for us. Okay. So we'll do container gap times 2. And it's going to write the calc for me. All right. This is one of the bugs we're fixing in the January release. It's been on my nerves since we came out with it. And I just broke the whole thing. Okay, let's go back. There we go. Okay, let me write this manually. All right, calc, and then we'll do a var times 2. And in my var, I want my container gap times 2. What is happening? Get the var out of where I was putting it. Okay. That's when it's happening. It's on the semicolon. Got it. Okay. Container gap. Now we'll keep the semicolon there. This was killing me the other day when I was doing it too. var container gap times 2. All right, where did it put the var this time? Right there. Okay, version 1 of that feature. Let's go all the way back. Will it, refresh. There we go. Sometimes you break things in bricks, they don't unbreak. Show me bricks. There we go. Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, back to timeline alpha. So you can change this. You can add I'm not going to do it again because the calc is obviously screwing things up. But I've used a calc in other places. You can use a calc there if you want to. Look at this center line color. Where is this center line from? Does anybody know, just like off the top of your head, you're like, oh, I know that's in this child element. Well, the good thing is I don't have to know where it is. I don't have to know how it was done. I can change its color right here. So like if I say black, guess what? That center line is now black. If I want the width to be something different than this value, which I had already changed it, it was a little bit thinner. But if I wanted to be 10 pixels, man, you can make a fat center line right there. I don't have to know where that style was declared or how it works or anything else. So we use these locally scoped variables to make things very, very, very easy. Now, if I dig in based on what I was doing in my head the other day when I was making this, let me see where, I think it was on, because these are loops down here themselves. Okay, that was the after for that. I wanted to show you guys, maybe it wasn't even on this frame, since I built like 9 frames in the last 3 days. Let's check our header. No, let's check list item. No, maybe the list itself. No, maybe it wasn't this frame. Got too many things going on in my brain. But I wanted to show you guys more locally scoped elements. I don't have a good one off the top of my head, but we've had frames where there was like 9 of these bad boys. And what they allow you to do is just in seconds manipulate different parts of the frame that would be otherwise difficult to find because it would be buried. And this is especially true when you start using pseudo elements and things like that, because finding the pseudo elements, especially when they're declared up here, is just, you do like panel after panel after panel of like, where is it? Where is it? Where's the style? Where's the style coming from? But now that we're doing this, all you do is find the parent, go look at the locally scoped variables and start making your changes. All right. And there's some really complex stuff that is happening just by changing a variable here and there. Very, very, very powerful stuff. And I'm going to be doing more. And if you go to the YouTube channel for ACSS and frames, I've done a few of the walkthroughs of different frames, showed the locally scoped variables of how they apply to that specific frame. But hopefully that was a little bit of a good breakdown for you. All right. So I've got one question left. Let's just look at a couple comments here. I'm absolutely thrilled to see such thought and care go into the documentation. Good stacks are built on great documentation. Yeah. And I will say this, it's like, as much work as it is to build a frame, it's equally that amount of work to document it. Trust me, like making all the screenshots, going through and like, all right, let's document every unique kind of HTML selector that we used here. Oh, then we got to create the documentation for that unique HTML thing. It's a lot. It's a lot. So, we've doubled our workload just because of the commitment to documentation. But I'm doing it because I know the value is there and I know it's going to tremendously help people, especially beginners, because I want a beginner to be able to pick up frames and just start using it. And that's part of the locally scoped variables thing that I was just showing you. When you have locally scoped variables that allow a beginner to say, ooh, I know I want to change that thing, but I just don't know how. And all they have to do is change a little value and they get exactly what they wanted. Anything that we can do to make it easier for beginners, we're absolutely going to do without sacrificing what's there for advanced users and what needs to be there just from an HTML5 or an accessibility standpoint. So that's the level of detail and kind of care that we're putting into this stuff. So thank you for the recognition that that's important and that we're doing it. All right, guys, I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to wrap this up. I am going to immediately go into the inner circle, button up the end of that training, post it, and it is there for you to go watch. Like I said, if you're one of those people who came to me and said, we want more advanced trainings in the inner circle, this is one of them. Go watch this. You are going to learn a ton. All right, guys, I'll be back next Wednesday, always 11 a.m. If you want your site looked at on Web Design for Dommies, link is down below. Fill out the form. You'll be in the queue. And just hopefully randomly you get selected, okay? That's it from me. I'm out. Love you guys. Peace.